Hi guys. All right, we're going to move on to part 2 of our lecture. So get your lecture notes ready and let's begin. Start with our focus question. What new form of government did the Romans establish after they drove out the Etruscan king? The new form of government that was created was a republic. I'm going to pause right here for just a second. So now you know 4 different kinds of government. You have a monarchy, ruled by one, a democracy, ruled by the people, an oligarchy, ruled by a few, and now you have a republic. And we'll go into that a little bit more in depth as we move through. Next focus question, what were the concessions that the patricians gave to the plebeians? The plebeians could have their own assembly, they could have a veto power, they could marry patricians, be elected as consuls, make laws that were just as official as those that the Senate made. We'll go into that as we move forward. All right, this is called a fasces. It is a symbol of power. And so when you see something like this, which is an axe wrapped in a bundle of sticks, that's what it is. Now, during the time that the Etruscans were ruling, the Romans had a monarchy. And as you are well aware, a monarchy is a rule by one. And after the Etruscans were overthrown, a republic was created. This is the definition of a republic. You need to write this down and commit it to memory, just like the other 3 types of government that we've already learned. So a republic, a government ruled by laws and representatives chosen by the people. Say it again, a republic, a government ruled by laws and representatives chosen by the people. A republic, government ruled by laws and representatives chosen by the people. This is very similar to the kind of government that we have in the United States today. The Roman Republic lasted 478 years. That is a huge amount of time. And the word republic comes from the Latin word meaning the Latin words res publica, which means a public thing. All right, new heading for you to put down, and that is the government of the Roman Republic. Now that you know what a republic is, let's start talking about the Roman Republic. There were 3 branches of the early Roman Republic. Make sure you write these down and we'll go through each individually. You have the consuls, the Senate, and the Assembly. 3 branches of government, the consuls, the Senate, and the Assembly. One more time, 3 branches of government, the consuls, the Senate, and the Assembly. So the first group that we need to talk about are the consuls. They were put in place of a king, and it was 2 patricians who were elected for 1 year. Now remember, the patricians are the wealthy ruling class of people. So the consuls are the first branch of government, and they were each elected for 1-year terms. The next branch is the most powerful branch of these 3 branches, and that is the Senate. The Senate was the most powerful branch because it controlled the money. Whatever part of the government controls the money is going to be extremely powerful. They were able to not just control the money, but pass laws and control foreign affairs. So make sure you take note of this. Senate, most powerful, controlled the finances, passed laws, and controlled foreign affairs. All right, now I know a little bit of it is getting cut off by my video, but I'll make sure that you guys know exactly what needs to go in the what is missing. All right, our third branch is the Assembly. And there are 2 different assemblies, so we're going to talk about them on different slides. We have the Assembly of Centuries. The Assembly of Centuries, they voted on laws, they declared war, and they elected the consuls. So you're only missing an S on this part right here. So the Assembly of Centuries voted on laws, declared war, and elected consuls. At first, which group of people do we know didn't have any representation in the government? and that would be the plebeians. Every single person in the consuls, the Senate, or the Assembly of Centuries was a patrician. Those are the wealthy, landowning people. The plebeians didn't have any say in the government until they started to ask for it. So they worked hard and they struggled to gain social and political equality. The plebeians said, if we don't get equality, we're going to leave the army. And that was a really big deal because Rome was involved in several different wars at the time, and they were working to expand their empire. If they don't have any soldiers, they can't do that. So it was really important to have the plebeians stay in the army. So a new assembly was created, and that was the tribal assembly. The tribal assembly was 10 plebeian members, and their role was to protect the rights of the common people. During this time, so we have two different assemblies, the tribal assembly, which would be for the plebeians, and the assembly of centuries, which would be for the patricians. During this time, it was possible that it could be hard to win a court battle because the laws were not written down. So in order to fix this, the Romans created the law of the 12 tables. The laws were written down so that they would be able to be understood by everyone, and they were displayed in the forum. So displayed in the forum. I'll say this again in just a minute. So it's important to have laws written down so that they can't be changed. If everyone can see the laws and everyone knows what the laws are, then they can be applied equally and fairly to everyone. So the advantages of having the law of the 12 tables is they're written down. Because they're written down, they can be understood by everyone, and they were displayed in the forum. So make sure you know about the law of the 12 tables. All right. Reviewing pages 232 to 234, the three branches of the government for the early Roman Republic were the consul, the Senate, and the assembly. Obviously, we talked about the difference between the Assembly of Centuries and the Tribal Assembly. The biggest difference is the Assembly of Centuries was just for the patricians, and the Tribal Assembly was for the plebeians. The importance, what was the advantage of placing the law of the 12 tables in the forum? And that was so they could be seen and equally applied to everyone. All right, here we go, dig and drill. The newly established Roman Republic was divided into three branches of government. You've heard this question several times, so I hope you get the right answer, which is the consuls, the Senate, and the assembly. And the 10 elected assembly leaders from the plebeians were called tribunes. All right, make sure you finish watching all of the videos and take your notes for the quiz, and make sure you do all the activities. Also make sure that you're marking completed whenever you've done everything so that I know that you're staying on pace and that you're working through the work. All right, keep up the good work, and I'll see you again soon.